Hey everyone, welcome to this video. And last week I asked people to draw my snail in your own style, and tag me in it, and write down you want a review from me. And then now I'm going to review some of them because I got a lot, and I picked out these ones to talk a bit. But it's worth checking out them all because they're super funny. And I want to go do this more, that people can make drawings and that I can do a quick review of it. I think that's a fun thing to have some interaction with you guys. And so I guess that's fun. So let's start with drawing, with looking at some of these drawings. Let's start with this one from Sharia, Lindsey. Lindsey, I guess. So let's place that one here. And let's start looking. So I think this is great. I really like the rendering and how it's made. I think it is made with color pencils or something, but it's really great. And my feedback is just it's just how I would do it. And of course, there's never a wrong or right in drawing, but maybe there's something you like and you can use. So I think this is great. What I would try to give it maybe a little bit more depth in it. And what I mean with that is to think a bit more in 3D style. And I think there's totally nothing wrong with your drawing. And it's really cool that you have your own style. But what I think would even make it better is to make it more, here, you can see it here. So it's more in 3D, three-dimensional. And of course, that's a style choice. But because this looks, here you don't see any perspective, but here you do. So try to make everything flat, or try to make everything 3D-ish. So I would start with this head here, and that it's slightly rotated like this. And then I would give this, here we see this breast. I would push this a bit more forward. And then maybe we can even place it a little bit in 3D. But it looks like she's watching behind her back. So maybe we need to put the perspective like this. So the female snail, I guess it's a female, is walking, snailing away from us. So let's start with this. So here, this perspective. So I always try to think of the perspective on the ground. So not per se that I draw every time this floor plan, but you could do it. It does help, especially when you're drawing some more complicated 3D characters. So maybe let's push this a bit. Sometimes I play around a bit. Do I want to make the head bigger or smaller? Maybe smaller, but then it looks so. What I don't like about my drawing is now that the snail house is just as big as the head, so it's quite boring, because you don't want to use all the same sizes everywhere. You want to have some variation there. So let's look at these things. I would make them maybe a bit longer. And are these hairs? This looks a bit like hairs. I would leave that maybe out and just keep it like this. And then at this. I really like that eye is small. So let's see if we can make it small again. So here like this. And maybe this angle, put this here. so they're not parallel. So I think you did that great as well. So maybe put this here, then draw here, put this here. Here you see this S line, so this curve. That's nice. And maybe we can make that snail house bigger. Yeah, I think it would work if we make it bigger. Or smaller. I would choose between one of those. So you have some, for example, what you want is if this is the head and this is the snail house. So something like this. I think it's better to maybe make the snail house big or make the head a bit bigger and the snail house a bit smaller. So you have this variation in the sizes. And of course it's a rule you can break, but I always try to have it in it. And for example, you see it with cartoons like The Simpsons or Family Guy. They do it on purpose, that style. But movies like from Disney or other animation movies try to play around as much with those proportions. Try to watch at it if you see any new movie. So for example here, I try to make this really small here. Also here, maybe make this a bit. So that there's also here variety. So because I mean with this, so there's this snail house here and here this line, and I try to make it wide here and small here. So there's some yeah, variation in it. So I think that's make this also a bit, maybe here a bit like this. So, but very nice drawing, and it's really appealing, and I really like the style. So that's cool. Maybe can also play around a bit with the length of the head. But if we make the head even a bit smaller, I think the house gets too big now. But maybe you can push this. Maybe this works. Make it a bit bigger. So you can play around with it. Yeah. I think I would like something like this, but then this one is way more cuter. So that's, yeah, when you give it a long neck, it starts to get less cute. So yeah, could play hours playing around with these proportions, but you can really see the difference if you make this head longer or smaller. So let's move on. Great work, Lindsey. It's awesome. Let's look at this one from Papaya, and super creative. I really like that you took the snail and ask yourself, what if it's Cleopatra snail? So let's put this here. Let's start drawing on top of it. So now we have this snail, and I like that there's some small perspective in it. Maybe this could be a little bit higher. So try to think of it in this 3D shapes, like I'm doing here. So this is nice. Let's see. So try to think of it in construction, because then you can put those pyramids on it. So let's see, how can we place those pyramids on it? So I guess that will be something like this then. Maybe It's cool that they're so small. What if we do one like this? Because it would be one house, right? So maybe make it a bit smaller. Maybe smaller for the size. It's really hard to make those sizes completely different, because if you make it too big, it's not ideal, and if you make too small, it can't be in it. So maybe make something like this, but it's a bit more straight. Then edit here. So I have the feeling it's falling a bit too much to the back. So let's look. What I sometimes do is I then Google a pyramid, and then I start looking at the image. So I'm always trying to find some reference to draw from. Yeah. So this is a good one. I don't place the image on my in the video because of copyrights. I don't know what's allowed and what's not. So maybe something like this. Maybe make this one a bit straighter. But now I'm not really satisfied with it yet, but I have a feeling that this one is leaning a bit to the back. And I think if you could play around a bit more with it to make it fit on her back. So something like this. So here, maybe make this a bit more like this here. So I would go for a bit bigger one. Keep it simple. Then at those eyes, I think you did a great job on that. Maybe I would put those eyelashes that way. Sometimes it looks also great if you let her look her back like this. So there's some, so she's heading this way and she's looking back. That makes it maybe a bit more yeah, interesting. I think it's funny because here we have her hair. It's going like this. And then her mouth is going like that. And maybe we can exaggerate her acting a bit. So making her, if we push up her underlip, maybe she looks a bit more arrogant or something. Or you want to add some character to it. So something like this. Maybe she's squinting her eyes. How would we give her this other look? So also notice if you draw these balls and draw these circles on it, and it's just a really subtle thing, but draw through it like this. So it feels a bit more built, but it's really subtle. But I think you did a great job on that. I also really like that you put this one here and this one in the back. So there's some depth in it. Maybe give her this. And I really like that you put this behind the hair. So something like this. Watch out for these things. These called tangents. And I would draw the hair then like this. And then we have this necklace that is going like this. And I would put the hair here. So what if here you have the necklace? Watch out that you don't put it here. So this wrong. But put it here. Or put it here. So, and don't put it there. So watch out for that. But nice work, Pepijn. Keep working on it. And what I would suggest for you is to, and you're already doing that, to keep working on your 3D. Yeah, build those characters a bit with those shapes. So you start to think in 3D. So you yeah. The danger is a bit if you're going to draw like this, drawings can get a little bit stiff because of it. But the more you practice this and the better you get at it, yeah, the less stiff your drawings get, but they also become really solid, and yeah, they get this dimensional feel. So great work. I also like this one. Frau made an animation, and I'm not really an animator, but what I do use in drawing is that if you have a ball, and this ball is here, it's standing, and now we're going to kick it. So we're kicking it in the air, and then it looks like this. So it is squashed. Squashed. And I don't animate, but if I want to draw something that got speed, then I draw this squash. So, and now it's going up, and then eventually it's going down again. And when it's here, it starts to get the normal form again. But when it gets down, it gets squashed again. Or no, oh, sorry, this is more stretched because because it gets here stretched, you see, and here as well, it's stretched. Squashed is when the ball comes down and it touches the ground. Then you get this. The force squash it's together. Squashed it together, and then it bounces back again and bounces back again. So you really want that stretch and squash, or pull and stretch. You want to have that in your drawings. And I really like your animation, but I think you can play around a bit with that more, also with the feeling. Maybe and also maybe you want to give him this really, yeah, that feeling that he's really pulling really hard. So you don't draw these things, but this exaggeration in the emotion, in the expression, and that if he's maybe pulled himself up, that you use that squash and stretch a bit. So maybe here here you can then see a bit. So here you can see that stretch feeling a bit, and then you get this. No, there's a name for it. Of course, I forget it now. But that he's now going a bit over the top. So here, and then he hangs back. But there are, maybe I could make some tutorial about it sometime. So So in animation, you have these 12 principles of animation. And maybe you can look them up. They're made by Disney, the 9 Old Men. And those are 9 Old Men are from Disney, and they made all the old classic cartoons, or they were the lead animators on those, and they came up with those 12 principles of animation. So you can look them up. Maybe I will make a tutorial about that soon, because I don't really remember everything anymore about it out top of my head. But what I wanted to show here is that you get this. Here he pulls himself up, and it stretches a bit out. It goes too much, and then like that ball I drew here, and then you can animate him in a bit squishy, so it's got this more feeling into it. But again, I'm not really an animator, but it's always good, even if you're just an illustrator, to know a bit about animation. And I'm going to dive in again a bit about it so I can explain it better. Let's look at the drawing from Becky. So this one's really looking cool. So let's start drawing. So I think it's really fun character, maybe that mouth. So it feels a bit too symmetrical. So what I would do is maybe make it on 3/4, we call that. So like this. So we have this shape here, and then add this line here, and then here. Maybe we can even make a twist. So here, this one side is here, and this side's here. So how that actually is that we have a ball that is turned that way, like this, and then we have a ball and that's turned the opposite way, that way. And if we connect these two balls, we get this twist. You see, like a towel, you can twist. So you get this here. You get this twist here. Then you can, because we want to avoid symmetry. 3. So symmetry is that something is the same at 2 sides, like this. What's better is if we make it more like this. So there's not symmetry, and because this is a more dynamic. And of course, you can go for the style for maybe a for kid animation or something really that needs to be simple, like the Simpsons or Family Guy also uses that. So it can be a style. So let's move this, maybe make this a bit weird. I don't know, playing around a bit with that. Maybe we can use some overlap here. Overlap is when you, for example, if you have 2 circles and they're standing together, now you can see which one is in front. But if we do this, you can see that this one is in the front. So then we have this. So if we would make the final line work, mouth here, then this eyeball, and then this one. So here you see overlap, and here you see overlap. So there gets some more depth in it. Oh, let's see. This one goes here. Oh no, it should be then, yeah, it should be more like this. So here we get the twist, like this. And again, with a twist, I mean, for example, if we have two boxes, and here, let's copy them. Here they're aimed at the same direction, and we can connect these parts here. So now here, so this part is soft and the red is hard. So, and this is the front, these parts. Let's make a cross in it. So if we would make that this side is turned this way, and now we turn this side that way, and we have this soft part, so we need to connect this part to here, and this to here, and then we have this point connects to here, to this point, and this point connects to that side here in the back. So you get this. So you get this twist. So the front here, here, and here. So now you get this 3D-ish feeling of a twist, like a towel. If you twist a towel. So now we can draw on top of it that snail. So then that would look like something like this. And then let's move this one away. And then we have the snail house here and here. So you get this 3D twist feeling, and it makes it more interesting. So that's what I wanted to show there. And let's look at dark digital. And really cool with the skull. So let's place it here so we can draw on it. So I think it's really, yeah, it's a bit like some graffiti art style, and I think it's really cool. I like the line white, and so let's see what we can do. Watch out for these tangents, that all these lines getting together. I think it's better to try to get these lines at different points, or it looks like a star or something gross. So let's start drawing on top of this character. I would maybe choose to make it, let's make it a bit bigger. I would choose to make it a bit more simple. So maybe put this, and think of those 3D shapes I also talked about at the others, also for these lips. So there's some depth in the lips. For example, if you're drawing them like this, exaggerated, but if you draw them more like this, there's a bit more depth in it, and also the overlap of the lip under it. Again, I would maybe break this eye loose here. So here and here, maybe it's cool that maybe we push this more like this. So this one is up and this one is down. And maybe we can she looks a bit angry, so maybe it's funny if we do it like this. So the same, if you're an angry person and you want to see how tough you are, you do this with your arms. So maybe also do that with those things. She's showing how cool she is. So, and also here we have this skull. Let's see at this skull. Think of this skull like this, and then think at it in 3D. So a bit like this. And here. So it's really important to know how to draw in 3D, because that gives your drawing more makes your drawing more solid. And even if you're using a stylistic style, you can use that 3D feeling. You can use that 3D feeling even if you make it more flat. So maybe something like this. So the skull looks more solid. And then if you make those big shapes first, then you can add the for example that scar, and maybe you can pull it through the whole head. So also here, and I like that you gave it some depth here. Maybe you could also do that a bit more here. So awesome, Dark Digital. I really like that one. Nice. So let's continue. Let's delete these ones and let's start looking at chatting. I don't know if I'm saying it right. From Malaysia. So I really like this one because it was so because you used the reference, and so that's really cool. And I think I see some things, and I really like your line work. There's really cool about it. What I think would improve a lot, I'm seeing you're using a lot of parallels, and try to avoid them and try to make them more like this, or even better, try to use this. Again, it's a guide and it's a rule, and you can break the rules. I really like this because you played around with those, and there's even it's cool that maybe you can make these even a bit less symmetrical by adding this, so they're different. So here, and maybe playing around with the depth a bit in it. But it's really hard because they're so. You can do this or do it. Maybe you can do it a bit. So here, also here, because we want to avoid parallel lines to make it a bit more interesting. So something like this. Maybe make this a little bit bigger and use a straight line here, and then more an S line here. So what I'm trying here is, here you see this. almost, or this. So it's a bit the same. So try to avoid this, and maybe try to do more this, or this, an S curve in a straight line, or an S curve against an C. So what I'm doing with drawing a lot is using CSI, and those are the lines I try to use. So maybe, so make this maybe a bit straighter. So we have this against this. This. Here maybe also give this a bit more rotated 3/4 perspective. That's more that way. Then maybe put this one also a bit here, and this one a bit more in the front. So you get more of this 3/4 view. Maybe make this one smaller and this one bigger. Small, big. So try to play around with those shapes, and maybe here 3 and here 2. I think it's also cool if you maybe give it a little bit depth here. So then you can play around with that. And I really like this. So maybe what you also can do is here, this is also symmetrical. You see? So maybe if you push this one shape a bit more here, and then, so for example, a bit like this. So here, and then you can also avoid symmetry here. And sometimes it's like a puzzle. No, that doesn't work, because then you need to be from this place. I don't know. Play around a bit with those shapes, because or else it looks too too mechanical or something. But great work. I really liked your version. Awesome job. It's a great character, but try to give it a bit more 3D and avoid parallel. Or like this. So let's destroy these. And let's look at the one from Nesser Obel. So put that one here. And like that, you made sort of a model sheet. I really like that, because making model sheets is great for your portfolio if you want to work in animation industry or game company, because a lot of time you make those model sheets. And so let's take this one. I think this one is really nice because you stretched this one a lot. So I think for you it's maybe useful to also start to draw more in that 3D-ish style, so that you think more in those wireframe style or things. So, or if you really want to make an more cartoon style that is flat, that's also really fine. So maybe think a bit how that snail house is attached to the body. Maybe like more like this. So try to build on top of it, and he's stretching. So maybe put this mouth also like this, and then maybe pull these, and it looks angry. So maybe, okay, let's do this. So maybe we can make this one a bit bigger. start drawing on top of it. We can stretch. Here we have the stretch again. So here, and maybe we can even use eyebrows. So here. And then this is really stretched or pulled. So it gets like this. And that force, we want that force. So, and he's screaming. So maybe use something like this. Or maybe take that tongue out of it. And do something like this here. So I think that's cool. So yeah, nice work, Nasser Roble. Probably saying your name totally wrong. Sorry for that. Let's look at this one from Fido. And that's really cool. And I think there are some things like what you could do is work a bit on your construction. Also, this goes up. I think it would be better if down. And think a bit about drawing in these. For example, here this line goes like this, but here we have the snail house, and it is round. So draw those lines around, wrap it around. Also for your painting, it's really nice. But if you, for example, this shape, try to think more in 3D. For example, here, if we have this here, and I make a layer for this, I add this here, then here. Then I can color this. Take soft paintbrush and draw. If you turn this button on, you can draw within the shape. So what I'm showing here, so you can draw here. And so now we're painting in it, but it's important to give that 3D-ish round feeling a bit. And I think you're almost there, but you could maybe even make it a bit more roundish feeling. First, make the overall shape. Forget this part a bit for now. First, do it like this here. There's also maybe some reflective light from the ground, and we want to have this a bit stronger. And maybe there's some highlights here, so something like that here. Now you can start adding here these shadows. And this part always takes a bit of time. So no, this part would be a bit darker. You would see this reflective light here. But I think you're almost there. You only think a bit more about the 3D shape. So, but nice work. I really liked that one. Yeah, and there are a lot of cool ones. Like, it's really funny that you did it in grass. And then it's really cool because then you need to think of how to work in this background. And also, maybe what can help with drawing this is making a rim, an extra rim light. So there's some extra light at the edge. So here you get this. And then what's also a good trick to check if it's good readable is to add a black layer on top of it and put it on color. So you can see the value, and now you can see that it's hard to see everything. So what you could do is try to get those values a bit better. So maybe add some extra light here, and then add some extra darkness here. And maybe make this background a bit lighter here or something, or yeah, but checking those values and trying to fix that can really help that. Maybe it also helps if you make this make the background a bit more desaturated. So here you have this grass that's a really high saturation, but if you lower it a bit, then it gets more gray. So he pops more out of it. For example, here, if we have this green here, and we have this color here, snail, it's hard to see this dot on this green. If we make this a bit more desaturated, like this, we make this a bit more saturation. So this saturation, so it's the strongness of the color, it pops out more. So here, let's take your colors. Here, this one reads better because of the saturation. Let's look at some more snails. Really like the cartooniness of this. It's really funny that this one is small and this big, and so that's cool. Maybe you can make, if these eyes are a bit bigger, then you have here a big shape, small shape, and medium shape. That would be, or no, I'm doing it wrong. So this would be middle, small, and big. But I really, yeah, this fine. I didn't say anything, but I really like that. It's really nice. Maybe, yeah. No, I don't have to say much about it. It's really cool. Nice one. Super funny idea. Your snail's evolving. Would be funny to see where does he evolves in. Maybe you get this superhero snail or something. This painting is really nice done. Great work. And Gerrit used to be my art director at the game company I worked in. So yeah, just too good. Nothing to say about it. Awesome, awesome Gerrit. Thanks. I really liked that you played around with these shapes. So this is really great. This is what I meant with the post I made about using different shapes, and great work. Awesome. Yeah, cool. Nice. Maybe a bit too much black. So try to use, don't use too much black, or else it gets so a bit dirty. So you can also use these, for example, if I would color this, I wouldn't do this. I maybe would take a dark purple color, for example, here. So you get a bit more darkness like this or something, instead of using this as shadow. I'm almost never using real black, but most of the time I use purple is a really great color for shadows. Really like the creativity of this one. Maybe you can play around a bit with those here, these shapes a bit more. Maybe you can make this one a bit bigger, and then make this one, or make this one really big, for example, like this. I think that would make it maybe show a bit of the shape there. So I think that would be really cool. Really like the cartooniness of this one. Maybe you can even exaggerate it more. Go crazy with those shapes. or then it's, watch out for the tangents here. But I really liked your shape view, so that's fun. It's awesome. But really look out for these lines here. Maybe you can better put this thing here, and then yeah. So look out for those tangents. And if you're never draw a color like this, but draw it like this, or like it's really round. Yeah, this one's really funny. Maybe you could better make it more like this, because then it's more rotated. But nice, the twist in it and the shape. Maybe if you pull this here, pull this up, and maybe with the shadow, I won't do this shadow, because I think it messes up a bit of your silhouette. But maybe make it more like this then, or like this, so something like that. And then here, these highlights here, so that you have the light coming from that way. Yeah, super funny character. It's awesome. I really like that you played around with those shapes. Also for you, think about drawing in these 3D shapes. And this one, super cute, cool. Maybe also, but it depends a bit on what you want. Maybe you want, sometimes you see cartoons in this style, but yeah, there are also some rules in it. Even those cartoons use a lot of these kind of avoid parallels and stuff like that. So try to think if you want it, and maybe you want to work more in 3D shapes. Try to make a decision in what kind of style you want to work in it. And if you want to work in those cartoony styles, look at Dexter and stuff like that. And maybe I'm going to make some tutorials about drawing more stylistic. So thanks everyone, it's really awesome work, and I'm going to do this more. So thank you, and sorry I couldn't review everyone, it's just too much. And be sure to check out the other drawings on my Instagram that the people made. You can see that if you go to my profile and look at the text, and then you can see all the other entries. So thanks everyone, and hope to see you next time. Cheers and bye.